Hello and welcome to Just a Moment. I have a very special guest today, Mr. Michael Tuttle. My name is Kristen Harding. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you, Michael, for joining us. Please tell us a little about yourself.
Well, my name's Michael Tuttle. I'm from Ontario, Canada. I grew up in Ontario and New Brunswick, and my early adulthood, I joined the military. I was in for 10 years, and then I got out, and I'm a boilermaker now. Just working at a nuclear power plant, and we're doing a refurb there. Um, I was an atheist up until about 30 years old. I'm turning 34 November 13th. Until the point where I actually had my own spiritual awakening, and I found out after that it was an acute Kundalini awakening is what happened. So that's kind of how everything started for me.
Wow. Do you want to go into that a little more? A Kundalini awakening implies energy.
Yes.
So, what happened?
Well, I'll start like about 5 years back. Um, it's a little bit like I'll have to be blunt with it, but I had a wife and I ended up finding her. She committed suicide and she was hanging, and I actually ended up finding her, and that's like the trauma that sent me into my own mental like self-imposed hell within
Right?
myself, and I was doing cocaine and drinking and just avoiding all of my feelings and all of the traumas and everything until the point of the suffering was just too much. And about 5 years after that, I was almost going to commit suicide myself. I was looking in the cabinet for pills and what to take to OD on, and that's when everything just happened for me. It's like I heard a voice within myself, kind of with my ears, but within my head, a voice I've never heard before, and it's basically said, "Michael, your ego is trying to kill you." Uh, and then the next day, my DMT arrived, and I smoked that. It confirmed everything from the night before, because when that happened, I was like hurled into this expansive oneness with everything, interconnected to everything. I'm getting answers from like why things happened in my past, the way they did, and all these different things all at once.
Right?
And then it kind of shot me back down, and I was like, "Whoa! Didn't even know what happened." So it wasn't until later that I actually found out that it was like a Kundalini or a spiritual awakening,
Right.
and I've actually gone through. This is my third awakening that I'm going through. I'm like 6 months into this one, but the last two before that, I ended up in the hospital because I wasn't prepared for the symptoms, I guess, of
Right.
the awakening.
Right.
And so it's basically I ended up like in the hospital because I was having like delusions and stuff, and I had like no discernment. So I was kind of like fully right brained, and I wasn't using logic and reason in balance with that right brain activity.
Right.
So that sent me to the hospital. Um, and then they diagnosed me with bipolar when I know that it's a spiritual awakening that's happening and is just out of control.
Right.
But now with this third one, I have like full discernment and balance and reason. I've been studying hermeticism, and I have a really good guide, and now I'm set for this time. So yeah, I have balance
I'm
with the left and right hemispheres, with masculine feminine hemispheres of the brain now.
I'm so glad. Could you possibly describe what the DMT did different for you? What did you see?
To be honest, the biggest thing that DMT did for me is it took away completely the fear of death, because it allowed me to completely have ego dissolution. It just dissolved my ego completely. It felt like, because I didn't have a body, I didn't have a name. Everything in my view was a kaleidoscope of colors I've never seen before, and everything that was in my sight of view was me,
Right.
and it was me, and I was it. And I had to accept that when I was in the realm, I had to accept that I was going to be there forever, and that is my eternal home.
Right.
And it was scary at first to accept that, because I was like, wow, like this is new to me, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's forever home. So I accepted it, and as soon as I accepted it, it sent me back into my body, and I sat up, and everything was overlaid with like digital code almost, and the kaleidoscope, and until it just faded away, and I was back, and I was just the same thing as the spiritual awakening. I was just like, whoa, and it kind of confirmed everything for me that had happened the night prior with the interconnected and oneness with everything. And yeah, it was a pretty wild experience. I've only smoked it 3 times, and after the third time I feel like it's enough for me. I don't even need it now.
Well, you were doing it, in my opinion, for the right reason, which is to tap into what you needed to know to continue on your journey.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely not a substance that you want to abuse or take for granted or disrespect. It's something you want to, like go in with the proper atmosphere, the proper intent, and looking for answers, kind of thing.
I've never myself tried it. I have had a similar experience of being out of body, but that came from a medical issue that I had after I had my daughter.
Okay.
So it was a similar, like being out and floating, kind of thing, but not brought on by drugs. So I am fascinated by it. It's on my bucket list to try it. Um, and that's why I was asking, what did you see? Because I've heard other people say that they see like relatives, or they see Mother Ayahuasca, or they'll see guardians or guides or dragons or
A lot of
animals that talk, or I just was curious if you saw any of that.
I didn't see any entities that I know of that were entities. Uh, I mainly just saw I could have been in what they call the waiting room.
Yes.
So which is pretty. It's almost scary to know that I didn't actually fully break through like I thought I did.
Hmm.
There's there's layers and layers and layers past where I was, I think. So uh, yeah, it's to
Well,
be taken with caution as well. I think just if it can mix it can actually not mix with certain prescriptions, so you have to be careful. You have to look those up before.
right.
And so there are some precautionary things to take into consideration.
Well, but thank you for that. It's not in my, like, um, it's in a future plan. I'll just say that, not something I plan on doing tomorrow. But
I know.
I go
Sorry, I
ahead.
was going to say I know that a lot of people will probably comment that you don't need to smoke DMT or do DMT to actually get to those into that state.
Hmm.
There's endogenous DMT that we produce within our own with our in our lungs, in our pineal gland, all over our body. We produce DMT, so there's ways
Right.
to access that with breath work and different techniques.
Oh, and I really can relate to that because I'm a singer. And when I've had to go out and perform and sing and sing and sing, that breathing that you do, you're the adrenaline is just amazing afterwards. It's almost like a performance high, I think, is what I would call it. And it's all from breath. It's all natural. There's no drugs involved.
Yeah, and even with breath, you can picture a vortex of light and energy coming in through the head and down and through the feet,
Right.
and just picture the toroidal field, because everything is a toroidal field if you really get down to it,
Hmm.
from from like quarks to atoms to humans. Everything is a torus. um, it may not look like it's a torus because we're bound by the illusion of the small tiny bandwidth on the spectrum of light that we're able to see. But if
Right.
we see a broad area of spectrum of light, we would see that everything has a toroidal field, and all the way up to the whole universe, I believe, is shaped the same as a toroidal field. Space time flows in the path of flow as of a toroidal field from the positive and negative forces. So in my belief, I believe that we're within a black hole. Our whole observable universe is within a black hole,
right?
in the now, directly between the positive and negative poles, the white and black holes. So
You are not the first person to say this. I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, I remember now. A gentleman on our show um, had mentioned the same possibility that we are actually in a black hole and that another one is coming, and basically, we kind of are perilously close to being engulfed by another black hole. But
interesting.
yeah, but I trust in the universe, and I trust that if we are meant to go, we'll go. We have no control over that.
Yeah,
So it's not a fear for me. It's just like, wow, I wonder, kind
yeah,
of a thing.
yeah. Just a curiosity, right?
Right, right.
Because
But I
a lot of
watch I watch a
possible.
lot of Doctor Who,
Yeah,
so nothing is impossible on Doctor Who.
absolutely. Yeah. So I think that space time, just as a black hole, what a black hole is actually a vortex of space time, actually funneling in space time,
Hmm.
which would be basically the future coming in and passing through us, where the negative pole is actually spinning the opposite way.
Okay.
So they're both meeting at the middle where creation is, where the two genders, the negative and positive poles meet. And that's where creation happens at 0 point field on a flat plane of inertia.
Hmm. I was just gonna say that just got my brain going. Sorry about that. I was just like, wow, Um, do you think we're in a matrix?
What do you, I guess it depends on the definition of the matrix. Um, I believe that we're in a holographic reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like Russian dolls. Everything
Stacked on
is,
top of each other?
we're a microcosm of the macro, and it's just a matter of degrees, just like the, the principles of hermeticism and polarity. It's just a matter of degrees that you could be more. We'll use temperature as an example. You can always go a little bit. You can always go 1 degree colder, or you can go 1 degree warmer,
Okay.
or you stay neutral at the same. So there's always those three options from the paradoxical nature of reality with the dualism. And I believe that we are basically in the center, in the now, where it's the border between the negative and positive poles. So therefore, that's why it's so dualistic on planet Earth. That's why we have such a huge polarity between evil and good here in the now.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think the timelines are compressing?
I feel that time is starting to go faster, like what we perceive as time, even
Hmm.
though that time is an illusion, as we all know. It's the past, present, and future is all happening at once, which is hard to perceive when you think about it. But
Again, I watch Doctor Who. It's wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff.
yeah, exactly. Um, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't thought too hard on time literally speeding up on, but I know that the closer you get to a black hole, time dilates as well.
Hmm.
With go with what that gentleman was saying, if we're approaching a black hole, time would speed up, or would it
And
slow?
would
I
would
think the
timelines
closer you get to it,
compress?
speeds up for
Sorry
the
about
people
that.
that are closer, right?
Mhm.
So
Can you repeat that? Because I talked over you.
I just believe that the closer you get to a black hole, the more time speeds up. I believe.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Do you think that the time, I believe that there are many timelines, that different choices in parallel worlds will give you a different outcome. And
Yeah,
that's what I was asking. Do you believe that these parallel worlds are compressing right now? Because I've had flashes and glimpses that are not of now, but are of now in a different timeline, if that
I see what
makes any sense.
that means. Yeah. Do you get deja vu a lot?
Yes,
I think that could be also parallel timelines overlapping on each other. What deja
right?
vu be, and that would actually like kind of be explain the compressing of timelines, because every decision you make, another decision could have been made, or
Yes,
multiple other decisions could have been made, and those multiple other decisions were made at the same time that you made your base reality decision.
right.
So all of those things are happening all at once. It almost hurts my head to think about it, because there's so many possibilities in the quantum field, that wave collapse functions that we can collapse into reality.
Right?
Our decisions that we make in the now, that's going to buffer that.
And to try and even ponder it, yeah, it makes my mind spin.
Oh, absolutely. And I with the toroidal system, some people think that the universe is infinite, but I'm starting to think that the universe is actually a finite system,
Okay,
but it has infinite potential.
right?
So it's constantly flowing within its back in on itself into its own center. It's always centered perfectly. And that's why we have the conditions that we have in the way we do in order
Hmm.
to.
Kind of in that same line, do you think that there are wormholes that we as advanced, like in our future, can travel back through, or alien races could contact us with? I guess I haven't even asked you if you believe in alien races. Sorry about that.
I do, and I honestly, I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole of the concept that the Greys could be us, from the future.
Possibly, yep.
Evolutionized from the future, and they figured out a way to come back in a wormhole back in time, or
Mhm.
forward in time enough to come through the path of flow of the toroidal field back and loop around to where they were, to where they want to be in time. So I think they're actually assisting us. I think there's extraterrestrials that are assisting us, and I think there are some that are almost feeding off of our energy.
Yes, the reptilians. We call
Yeah.
that what they feed off of loosh.
Yes, loose.
Um,
I think
this
that not all reptilians are necessarily a negative.
no, no, they're not. There are some positive ones, thank goodness.
Yes.
And I believe that too. That they, that in every tribe there are good and there are uh, unenlightened ones. And I'm not going to say bad ones. I'm just going to say unenlightened ones.
Yes.
And if there was a race of aliens, well, that would like send star seeds to Earth to report back, would you identify with any of those alien races, or are you like strictly Terran?
I haven't really gotten into the alien races too much to comment on it, to give you a good comment on it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I'm a little bit ignorant to the different alien races and the traits and all the different aspects of that.
Hmm. Understood.
But I do believe that uh, the future is the past, is the future is the present. And I think that time travel is possible. Maybe not for us right now, but for us in the future. And if
Right.
it's possible for us in the future, then that means that those beings could make contact with the now that we're currently
Exactly.
experiencing. And
Exactly. And if they were from the future and they knew of a disaster and they came back to prevent it,
yeah,
that's benevolence.
absolutely.
Do
And
you? I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I think it's just important to um, choose a route, make a choice and choose a route and go down it. And if it's
Right.
not right for you, then back out and choose a different one. For me, I've gone down a couple routes, but I found that hermeticism for me is the most straight to the point,
Hmm.
and no strings attached kind of thing. It just gives you what you need to know,
Right.
and for you to be able to apply the 7 hermetic principles is for you to be able to be centered, and you can relate all of the hermetic principles to the toroidal field. If you were to go within and see with your mind's eye your own toroidal field during meditation, or just throughout the day if you're daydreaming, you can just relate the toroidal field to basically like a large spectrum that's within itself centered. um, if you're if you're not centered, if you're not balanced like a Taurus, if you aren't like the Taurus, like the most high Taurus, like the whole universal Taurus, then you're not going to be aligned with the universe,
Right.
in my opinion. So you need to think about uh, the principles of like the principle of mentalism, vibration, polarity, rhythm, correspondence, gender, right? And then cause and effect is probably one of the most important ones to me, because it involves action in the now, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that with the law of polarity, it it shows that a lot of people have had traumas, right? That
Mm-hmm.
before their awakening,
Right.
it shows that the law of polarity, the pendulum is going to swing the proper way for these people eventually if they do the work and they align themselves and center themselves and balance themselves with the universe.
Right. And don't give in to the negative. Because
Uh,
if you go looking for negativity, you're going to find it, right?
exactly. And if something perceivably negative does happen, you need to think right away and consciously get it into your subconscious to think, how is this for me? And you
And
can
what is
train
it
that
teaching me,
possible.
right? What
Yeah.
is it teaching me? Not why is this happening? What is this teaching me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm at a point in my experience myself where I'm like, everything in my life has taught me something. I'm grateful even for the negative experiences because without them, I wouldn't be so grateful for the positive ones.
Exactly. Like, how can you enjoy the positive? How can you enjoy the light if you haven't experienced the dark?
Right,
You can't relate it to anything if not.
right.
And you have a lot more substance with your character if you're able to transmute the darkness into light and have that spectrum of experience that you'll be able to help other people with, because you'll have the empathy of the darkness that they're in while you're in the light, being a beacon for those people, right? That's
Exactly.
all about, is to go on the hero's journey, attain the elixir, come back, and then give it to the people that need it.
Would you say that's your mission?
I'd say that's part of my purpose, is to like um, teach as I learn, and then I learn from other people as I teach. And it's just a cyclical process, of a symbiotic process of me helping others, which helps me as well. And I understand why philanthropists will say that the most selfish thing that they could do is giving, because it helps the person that's giving so much as well. You know, it
Hmm.
brings you back to the the cause and effect and correspondence. What you give will come back to you, even and then some,
Right.
and then you can give more. So
Well, exactly. The universe wants us to have enough to be generous with other people and for our cup to be overflowing.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think that the people in charge got that memo.
No, well, I think they do understand exactly what that memo says, but they're going to use all those things against us, and they use our subconscious pattern recognition nature of the way humans work, um, to program us with things that actually take us off course. Not even program us with things that keep us neutral, but actually take us in the wrong direction, which is the worst thing about it. So we need to actually take our own self-educate and take the reins and actually do the work ourselves to deprogram all the useless information that we've gotten throughout our lives and reprogram ourselves with what's going to bring out our best self.
Exactly. Break out of the indoctrination of the media.
Absolutely.
Don't trust anything that comes out of the media. Look it up yourself. Find
Absolutely.
an unbiased view, and look for the pros and the cons. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say that I don't know whether it was public schooling or video games or what, but it just feels like humanity has been they've been attempting to dumb us down.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I think that's a lot to do with like they're spraying the air with heavy metals. They're poisoning
Ah,
our food. And again, that's up to us to eat healthy and find the right foods. But if they're spraying the air and putting fluoride in the water and all these things, it's kind of hard to get around, right? And that's
I
why I push to people to do the detox, heavy metal detox and parasite detox is important.
right. It's very important. I heard a rumor, don't quote me, but that the fluoridation of the water here in America would be stopped. I hope that's the
Oh,
truth.
I hope it's the truth too, because apparently they've come out with the fact that it's a neurotoxin. So
It is, and it also calcifies your pineal gland, and that
yeah,
is your connection to source. And I object. I'm sorry, I just object to that.
yeah. But you know what? With the uh, with the L downs, I won't say the whole word, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, um, I had to be I had to be vaxxed twice just so I could see my baby get born, which is just ridiculous. They passively pushed it on everyone, to in every spectrum. What I think happened with that is they were testing their dial out to see how much they can turn the dial up,
Yep.
and they saw
And
how
see,
far they could go before their citizens would push back. And I think it was a big test,
it
and
was. I
hard.
agree with you. It was an obedience test.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I failed. I'm a novid. I didn't have COVID and I didn't get their shot.
Yeah,
Holy Spirit spoke to me and told me don't do it.
good. That's really good.
So they would have had a very hard time to get me to try and take that
Hmm.
because I have in my past had a few circumstances where I felt very protected and no explanation for it other than intuition or possibly spirit. But I saved myself from very dangerous situations just by listening to that.
Just listening to that intuition, right?
Yes, that still small voice.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that's religion. I believe that's faith.
And you know what? I think faith leads to knowing.
Yes,
By having faith
exactly.
in the proper avenue for you, it's going to lead to the universe showing you evidence of your beliefs to show that it's true for
Right?
you and for your reality. It's actually
I,
pretty intense what we can manifest. If I believed in the spaghetti monster hard enough, I'm going to see spaghetti monster everywhere. I'm going to start
right?
seeing it. The law of attraction is going to bring that to me to bring me evidence to show me that that's real for me. And I think that has a lot to do with the NDEs. What people see during an NDE is what their core beliefs are and what their values and all these different variables go into account because we project. It's all us. When you see
Yes.
entities when you die, it's you. It's you in different forms communicating with yourself and with telepathy through your own brain, through your own consciousness. That's what I believe. But
Wow. Hold that thought. It's break time. We're going to have a commercial for about 4 minutes,
yeah,
and then we're going to come back. And I would like to hear more about that. Have you yourself had a near-death experience?
I personally haven't, but I do know people that have.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that in just a few minutes. Okay.
Welcome to Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, where magic meets the mundane and the extraordinary becomes everyday. Are you ready to gift yourself with the whispers of ancient power stones? To the feel and hear the echoes of our ancient past? Dive into a world where each pendant tells a story, where rare stones hold secrets known only to the universe itself. At Crystal Cove, our collection isn't just jewelry. It's a gateway to a realm of mysticism and wonder. Let the shimmering opal guide you through twilight dreams, or embrace the fiery energy of the sun with our exquisite amber pendants. Each piece, handcrafted by the hands of a true mystic who understand the language of the earth and the fire of one's heart. At Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, we believe that every soul deserves to sparkle. Whether you seek solace in the calming embrace of amethyst or wish to dance with the vibrant hues of turquoise, our collection holds the key to unlocking your inner magic if you allow it to be so. Visit us today and discover the pendant that speaks to your soul. Crystal Cove and Mystic Charms, where the beauty of our amazing earthy realm meets the magic of the cosmos.
Hey there, Hunter. Go check out our friends at Colorado Custom Game Calls. They are all about creating a high-quality, custom, unique game calls at an affordable price. They are here for hunters that can't and won't pay upwards of $180 to $200 per game call. They pride themselves on giving their customers the opportunity to not only purchase an affordable and high-quality call, but to customize their game call to their liking. So listen up and go check them out. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. They got calls for all type of game, and all the game calls can be custom made to your own likeness. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. Tell them Matthew sent you from the Matrix Minds.
What is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.
Welcome back to Just a Moment with my guest, Michael Tuttle. I
Thanks.
was asking you, oh, thank you. I was asking you about near-death experiences, and could you, without, like naming names, kind of give us an overview of what people have told you they've experienced?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, from the man that I've heard it from, he hasn't told me that I'm able to tell anyone. So I just want to respect that with him.
Sure.
But other than that, I just know in general, from my studies, that it's excuse me, that I've heard that it's not the best to go to the light, that it's actually a soul trap.
It is. I've heard that too. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just curious what your thoughts would be on that, on the soul trap thing.
They've actually seen something on the moon that could possibly be this soul trap.
Really?
Literally a physical thing, not a spiritual thing, a physical trap. And
Wow.
I'm gonna look into that a little more so I can actually give you some factual information, and I'll send it
Mhm.
to you. But yeah, I have heard the same thing. In my near-death experience, was stopped from going into the light. I was
Wow.
stopped by my great-grandmother, and oh my goodness, did she know what to say, because I was floating free outside my body and I had no intention of going back. None. You don't feel attached at all to anything, you are just free. And
Wow.
she said, "What about your children?" And oh my goodness, I flew back into my body.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is
It
intense.
it was. It was very intense, and this was
How,
during a time when if you tried to talk to people about your experience, they would have you probably see a psychiatrist.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Very
that'd
different now.
be a lonely feeling to be come back from that and not be able to talk about it to anyone really, or for them to understand.
I just saw things so differently, Michael. I saw it as an opportunity because once we go, we can't really change anything, you know? We
Yeah.
can't change people's memory of us. And here, while we're here, we can. We can make the changes that have
Hmm.
hurt our heart or our soul so that we're at peace, so that when we do get judged by whatever, we're light as a feather and we can ascend and not have to come back.
Absolutely. That's part of why, like, I am very excited about um, awakening at this part of my life. So I have so many years ahead of me to be able to study and to go in within myself and
Right?
to understand different parts of me that that are unconscious of at this moment. And we're never the same person as we were last year or even yesterday. So
Heraclitus said that a man cannot cross the same river twice, for
yeah,
he is not the same man and it is not the same river.
yes, exactly. I have that quote somewhere saved.
There you go, vibe attracting your tribe.
Yeah.
So there was something I saw posted in one of the groups that you guys invited me to. Thank you. Um, are you a believer in flat Earth?
I am a new believer in flat Earth. I never thought I would ever say that, especially even on a podcast, but it's answered so many questions for me that and it makes so much more sense to me now. A lot of things because of that. So
The clip I am referring to was pilots that were asked if the Earth was round or flat,
yeah,
and if they had to make any correction for the world being round in their flight pattern, and they said no.
no. And you know what? I think a lot of those videos too, they'll make it a short clip. Like some of them are actually to be like a psyop against flat Earth as a reverse psychology, because they'll take a clip like that and it'll be short and it'll be like, oh, it'll leave questions like where they could have edited it,
Right?
uh, make it sound like they just left it at that. They might have said more. Where
Right?
they'll put those videos out there for people to actually question it and to like doubt the flat Earth and all that kind of stuff. Um, the thing is, people wonder, oh, okay, why is it important what shape of the Earth it is? Well, if they're lying about the shape of the Earth, what else are they lying about, right? And that's just the tip of the pyramid,
Exactly.
and everything will collapse once one lie is found. Once the biggest lie is found out, I believe that the Babylon will collapse.
Who do you think really owns the Earth?
Everyone, everyone equally owns the Earth, I believe, and including the animals and all of wildlife, trees. When you think about it, we're all the same. When you get down to quantum physics, we're all aggregated atoms, right? And
Exactly.
every one of those atoms has a toroidal field, and it like it microcosms all the way to macrocosm for those toroidal fields, and um, everything's structured the same relatively according to whatever size it is in the universe. It's just really, I just find it, I find it very important to just go within yourself and understand yourself, because if you can understand the self and the system that the body is, and your mind, your body, the soul, then you can understand the way the universe works, in my opinion.
That, yeah. To go within to understand without. I like that.
Yeah.
So back in the day when the maps were made and it showed sea monsters at the edge of the earth because if they believed it was flat. What do you think those sea monsters were? Do you think that might have been like Antarctica, or there's a rumor about the Thule society in Antarctica that's actually a paradise? Have you heard about that?
Interesting. I haven't heard about that, but I do believe there's land beyond. I think this plane is a lot bigger than we think.
There is a theory that, and it's just a theory, I haven't seen evidence of it, that yes, what we see is blocked by an ice wall and there is much beyond it
Yes,
that has not been discovered.
absolutely.
Or has been discovered, but it's by the chosen few, shall we say.
Hmm. You know, it's funny how we have all these maps from back in the day that all look the same, and they map out the North Pole, and I believe that they're protecting. I forget what the rock is called. It's an extremely large, like, mountain of a magnetic rock at the heart of the North Pole,
Okay.
uh, which would be uh, the positive pole of the toroidal field of the Earth, where the electromagnetic field is the path of flow of a toroid for the Earth.
So they're guarding it so that we don't tip.
Well, what I think is that at the center of every toroidal field is a consciousness, and that observes and collapses the wave functions, and symbiotic with creation and reality that we see.
Right.
And I think that the Earth is actually like a living thing. It's not just a rock, you know. I believe
Gaia.
that's an actual living entity, and that could
Entity.
be that could be where the heart of that entity is.
Her name is Gaia, and I
Gaia.
agree with you. She is a living entity.
She's our.
Native Americans used to sing to Mother Earth, and they would sing a song in the morning, and they would sing a song to the water, and they would sing a song at evening, and those songs connected something. And those lost ways, I think, are going to be found again when we finally ascend. And we will find out that yes, Gaia is a living entity. Our Earth is real. It's a living entity. But then I believe so is the sun. That's a little
Absolutely.
weird. It's a little
No,
weird to say it, but
I agree. I think that all stars are conscious. It's a matter of, are they aware? I don't know, but they're conscious, I believe. And we only compare consciousness. It's hard to compare consciousness to anything other than us, right?
right.
But consciousness takes on many forms, I believe.
Hmm.
And consciousness doesn't necessarily have to be aware. Consciousness could be a system that wants to have more of itself, that wants to procreate, that wants to divide. You know, all the cells that make you up are, the microcosm of you.
Right.
So we have trillions of cells that make us up, and all those toroidal fields are emanating the most high toroidal field to them, which would be you. And we're basically like a giant atom aggregated atoms, and that's why we have a toroidal field as well, because everything is relative. No matter what size, it's going to be the same shape.
Mm.
We
Takes
just
me
don't
to
see the shape. We don't see the shape of the toroidal field, like I said, because we don't see the bandwidth. We only see a little sliver of the bandwidth of the visible spectrum, right?
right, right. It takes me to the movie Men in Black, where the universe is actually on the kitty cat's collar,
Oh yeah.
and they are reminded, you humans, you view everything by size.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say the most important lesson that you've learned so far is?
I'd say the most important one of the most important lessons would be um to trust in the universe being benevolent, to actually put my full trust into knowing that it has my back. I believe
Hmm.
they call it pornoia, when you know that the universe is working for you and not
I like
against
that.
you.
I like
So
that.
um to just put your full
Pronoia.
trust into the universe will manifest you what you need. um it's not always necessarily what you want, but I've always found that when the time comes that I absolutely need something, the universe always provides.
Same.
And it's happened enough times where I know that it's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. It's just how it works, and it wants things to come into order. It
Right.
wants to fight against entropy, the universe. And toroidal systems come into are what when chaos comes into order in the now, within the center of a torus. Chaos comes into order, and that's where creation happens at 0 point field.
Hmm.
And that's why I think it's important to think about the dynamics of the toroidal field with reality and the nature of reality, because the nature of reality is a torus. And by thinking about that on a daily basis, you can compare where you're at with polarity, correspondence, cause and effect, and apply those things to your daily life.
I've always been of the belief that we're all flowers in the universe's garden. So I've never understood why people don't get along. And
Hmm.
then I remembered, not everybody is on a positive wavelength. Not everybody is out to benefit humanity. I wish they
Hmm.
were,
Yep.
but unfortunately, I don't get my wish. So if you had something that you could say to the audience to help with their journey, what would it be?
I would, to your audience, I would say just to be authentic, to not be scared, to be yourself. Because when I started to just be myself and not care what anyone thinks within context, I realized that that's when things started happening for me, and that's how I got on this show. And that's how I got noticed to be on Matrix Minds before this show. And it's just by being yourself and not caring what others think within context. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the keys to aligning yourself with the universe, because the universe wants you to just be happy. And if you
Right?
always have a mask, and it's a choice to take that mask off, it's a choice to be happy. And I think it's pretty hard to be happy if you're always pretending to be someone else. So just be yourself. And if you resonate with my story or anything I'm saying, you can add me up or shoot me a DM, and I'm happy to help and talk to you.
And don't give up after the first try, because it took me 3 to get through to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "This is strange," and I was telling the mutual friend, I was like, "Sweetheart, I've tried several times." It's like, for some reason, maybe it was just the amount of followers you had or something, I don't know, but I did try several times, and finally we contacted.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that
No,
was
thank you very
amazing.
much for having me on.
Oh, it has been a pleasure, and I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely.
How would you say that you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered?
Mhm.
I just want to be remembered as a good dad, to be honest. Uh, I don't need accolades or um, what most people think of as achievements. I just want to be known that I did my best for my family and that I did my best to act out of love for with everything I do. So, which
Attitude of
is it's hard
gratitude.
to do. It's hard to always act out of love. Sometimes you knee jerk reactions and you catch yourself and you're like, okay, I need to take a step back and rethink things and be more mindful. But it's getting better every day. So it's if you're just 1% better every day, I think that's a good goal to have.
Exactly, because eventually you'll hit 100%.
Absolutely. And then some.
Wow. I like that. I like that idea a lot. Every day, give yourself a positive thought. Every
Yeah.
day, work on something positive. For me, I have noticed that I am happiest when I have a project, whether it's
Yes.
an interview,
Creating.
like, yeah, whether it's an interview like you've blessed us with, or creating a knitting project or a painting or just something,
Yeah.
give yourself small-term goals and then long-term goals, and you'll find yourself happier. Have you noticed that?
Absolutely. Yes. I had like a weight loss journey for me. On my first awakening, I lost 60 pounds and I got the most fit I've ever been. And that was just by every day, treating each day like it was my last and just trying, putting the most effort I can as I can every day and just thinking about that 1% better every day.
Right? Wow. So it's 60 pounds? That's amazing.
Yeah. I gained a little
I
bit back, but still, um, yeah, I lost that in about 10 months. So I'm able to help people with their mind, body, and soul, I'm thankful for being able
Good.
to do.
There used to be a long time ago, I'm dating myself as to how old I am, but there used to be a magazine called Body, Mind, and Spirit back in the 80s. And it would focus on those things, how health, nutrition, exercise, enough water, vitamins, etc., could really optimize your life.
Absolutely. And fasting is a big thing too with autophagy. If anyone doesn't understand what autophagy is, it's like a recycling program that your body does within. It's like a biohack. By
Cool.
fasting, your body stops the digestion system and it
Okay.
starts working to recycle improperly folded proteins that are in your brain, which is also a common cause of not autism, Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So by fasting a few days a year, or a few days, a couple times a year, you actually reduce your risk of like cancer and Alzheimer's by quite a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, because of autophagy.
How
Um,
long would you say fasting for?
how long would I say to fast?
Yeah.
I would start with just 24 hours and then work your way up to 48 and then try to do 3 days if you can. I've done
Okay.
5 is my max, but people have done a lot more than that.
Okay.
Um, and another good thing to do with the nutrition when it comes to the spiritual side of things is to replenish your gut microbiome because your your uh, your CPU basically is your brain, heart, and your gut, and they
Mhm.
all work together in unison. And if your gut bacteria is off, then it's just like the collective consciousness of your gut is off. What do you mean?
I agree with you 100%. I have seen people who have had an infection that they didn't know they had, and it goes into sepsis, and they are absolutely out of their mind
Yeah,
because of, you know, what basically started out as a minor thing that wasn't tended to. So yes, gut health, absolutely very important. And like I said earlier, just staying hydrated. So many people
yeah,
don't realize how much water we actually need,
yeah.
and it can help you so much.
And to put some Celtic salt in that, and you
Yes.
for electrolytes, and you're good to go. We're electrical beings, and that salt helps us with our electric being.
I like that. I like that. Well, do you have anything that you would like to share with the audience before we go? Because believe it or not, we're almost at the end of the hour.
Yeah, that flew by.
It always does. I love talking to people.
That's great. I appreciate you having me on the show as well. Thank you.
Well, that's been my pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing?
Just to whatever you're working on right now, just don't give up and don't listen to the naysayers. Create in the dark and present it when you're finished, and just keep going. 1% better every day.
I like that.
And try to look into toroidal fields, vortices, Fibonacci sequence, and have an open mind about the flat Earth thing. I was against it I was making fun of people even for it until I was 30. So, well, actually,
Ooh,
up until I was just recently, like only a few months ago, is I able to say yes, I have faith in the flat Earth, because I saw so much evidence that I just can't refute.
right.
So
I was
anyway,
going to
just have an
ask,
open
so
mind about all those things and look into them. If you have any questions, shoot me a text and I can be happy to answer. If I can't answer it, I'll talk to my guide about it.
awesome. You have a guide. Does your guide have a name?
Yes, Dennis Horton.
Cool.
Yeah, he's showed me that I have the keys to a door that he showed me that I could unlock, and it's opened up a lot for me and had some paradigm shifts because of that man. So I appreciate that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that an Akashic record that you acknowledged or opened, or what is this like?
He opened me up to Hermeticism, and flat Earth and toroidal fields. I've already been thinking about toroidal fields a lot before, but he confirmed so many things about the toroidal fields and how to correspond it to Hermeticism. So that's really helped me out a lot, and occult
Wow.
knowledge.
Well, I really hope that you will come back and join us again because you have been a wonderful guest and very informative. And I just really appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Well, that's all the time we have for now, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Never forget that you are amazing, you are loved. Be well, be safe out there, and I'll see you in the next show. Bye.